Well, it does seem like the issue has been resolved, and we are now into champion state. TSM versus Samsung Galaxy, and we have the bans coming through. So Tam Kench taken off the table, Jace as well, could be a hit against Crown in the mid lane. Have seen it flex to the top lane, of course, nearly Sivir so far.
Yeah, let's see which champion gets disabled today after Bjergsen plays against it.
Yeah.
Any bets? Any bets?
Going well. I want to see a Rek'Sai ban against Samsung Galaxy.
Yeah, this is like Rek'Sai is either first pick or ban worthy because it's Ambition probably best champion in current meta. And then I wonder if like it's either probably I just don't feel it's either Syndra or Rek'Sai I thought, but I don't think that Syndra is that priority because I don't think Crown gonna prioritize it that much.
Yeah, a couple things just happened while we were talking. Vladimir banned out, Cassiope as well, again pinching that mid lane champion pool, and Syndra straight up first pick by TSM. What do you make of that, guys?
Well, I think that's the same thing as SK Telecom wanting to get it. Syndra is on the 480 or the 4 mid lane champion or mid laners at Worlds. Faker, Bjergsen, Crown. You know, they are 3 of the Syndra gods. Where I think if they pick Syndra, it's god tier. It's above S.
Yeah, Bjergsen played Syndra. This is like was his first champion when he came into LCS. When he was on Copenhagen Wolves, he played a lot of Syndra. And I mean, if you see the ban of Vladimir, it kind of telegraphs you that Syndra first pick is really like the choice to go. Because Vladimir is like the Syndra nullifier basically, because like eventually he like survives the lane and outscales her. So yeah, we'll see what maybe Crown has something prepared or he will just victory it out.
So outside of being a Syndra god, is Syndra not typically like a first pick champion or a champion you would blind pick?
I mean, there are like really fancy counter picks like Zed or Yasuo.
Okay.
And with Rumble top lane, I mean, I don't know if Crown plays that, but I mean, why not? Like I've seen, for example, Scout pulling out in China the Zed mid.
Well, Crown actually has for the longest time wanted to play Yasuo. He considers it his best overall champion, even though Victor is his best competitive champion. So I don't know if we'll actually see Yasuo, but he did actually say in an interview towards the end of LCK that he wants to play Yasuo, but he feels like it's so bad right now in competitive.
Yeah, but right now, I mean, they have the setup for Yasuo if they really want it.
Yep.
So like...
Yeah, they got the Alistar there.
So they just leaving the last pick for Crown to either to get a counter pick and some kind of cheese pick.
Oh.
Or they decide not to.
Yeah. They're going to go with the Varus, and this is a champion that Crown, Ian, Tempt, you know, from LCK, they are very exceptional Varus players. And this, you look at the team comp from Samsung Galaxy, and it basically says all of what they like to do. Has good Baron control, has good poke, good wave clear, good engage, good disengage, even, you know, using the equalizer from Rumble or just Alistar just knocking people away. So I think, though, I'm a little worried that they do have 2 tier lanes.
Yeah, my biggest worry is they just like, first, I mean, they have Ezreal Alistar, which is suspectable lane, right? And second, I mean, if jungle falls behind and Lee Sin can get into enemy jungle with Syndra pressure of the mid lane, I don't know how Var is gonna lane against it. Because if Lee Sin gets into your jungle after level 6, he can kick you out under the turret, like, and then they 100% to 0 you. And cleans, I mean, he takes cleans versus Syndra, or he looks like he's taking cleans versus Syndra, but it won't save him.
This might be a Kindred. Oh, I think the team comp actually fits for Kindred right now, as weird as that might sound. But Elise, probably a much more common pick for the viewers.
I mean, both picks. I think Elise is just like more common, especially like Elise Varus, big comp. But I don't know. Like, I think Lee Sin is superior to Elise in jungle in terms of like 1v1, right pressure. So then you have the pressure from the mid lane. Probably Kennen can push in the Rumble. Yep. And then Jhin Braum will have advantage over Alistar Ezreal. So you're basically picking 3 losing lanes with a great team fight. And if they fall behind and Lee Sin actually gets into your jungle, I don't know, it's gonna be hard for Samsung.
Yep, it is indeed. And it looks like it will be the Elise lock-in. So we're gonna actually see if Bjergsen elects to take the cleanse. We just saw what Faker was able to do to Jensen with a double snare, a double CC, you know, mid-jungle duo. And Bjergsen taking the cleanse, giving respect over to Crown.
I think it's more of respect towards Ambition. Not sure though. Like after level 6, okay, it's Varus. But I mean, against Elise, it's actually, if you take cleans, it's impossible to gank you. Like, I mean, until you really screw up your lane or like you think the jungler on the wrong side, like you have any kind of misinformation, so the jungler comes like behind you or something and slows you with the red buff. it's pretty impossible to gank you because like you can just cleanse the cocoon if you didn't dodge it.
Absolutely.
Seems like a lot of this matchup is determined by the junglers. If they're just left to their own devices in mid lane, is there a significant advantage to the Syndra or the Varus?
Well, I do want to mention that the team comp that Samsung Galaxy has elected to take is stronger late game on the left-hand side of the river, because it's able to basically maneuver its way into the river and it's able to dissuade Baron. Whereas if this team comp was on the blue-hand side, it's a lot more difficult because it ends up becoming poke rather than just like a dissuade.
Right.
As for me, it's just Svenskeren show, if he pops up and just like gets the gang off, I think he can just take over this game.
Yeah, it's definitely on Samsung Galaxy to weather the storm.
So a lot of this seems to like revolve around the mid game, the macro game, and getting out of the laning phase versus like what happens in that one-on-one matchup. So you would say that's the case. It's more about like these picks have been very much picked for the team compositions and the goals that they're trying to get to in this game.
Right.
I mean, if people watch the previous game, right, I think TSM comp has much more engage and tools to actually get it to Varus and kill him compared to Flash Wolves in the previous game. So like they have Jhin. They have Syndra, so this is like the two peak champions. They have Lee Sin, which if he gets behind the enemy team line, he can engage. They have Kennen. If they have good wards and good vision control, he can TP on Varus. Like, I don't know, I just feel that playing Varus against Syndra, Kennen, and Lee Sin and Jhin, I don't know, I think it's ballsy.
Yeah, that's one word for it. You can see you can hear even the TSM chants coming out very, very loud. How much does that impact you as a player, Alex? If like the entire crowd is chanting for the enemy team, does it bother you at all?
I've heard Riot improved their headsets, so we don't hear it anymore.
Okay.
So. Other than that, I mean, I think it's pretty cool. Like, playing in your own region, like when, for example, LCS was in Russia and we were playing, I don't know, it was fun.
Yeah. I mean, like, a lot of the time, at least from, like, a casting perspective, like, you don't necessarily hear it, but you can feel it behind you. Like, the crowd is a lot of vibrations coming from over there, so you definitely feel it. But we're getting into this matchup now.
Yep.
Yeah,
just a standard fan out. You don't really want to do anything if you're Samsung Galaxy other than a fan out because they do have the Braum and they have the Kennen, so if you face check, it can get pretty problematic.
Yeah. Everyone has everything usual, like cooldown reduction on both Bjergsen and Crown. Maybe Crown could have opted for the flat MRS, but I think he's, like, I mean, he already picks Varus into comp like that, so I think he's pretty sure in his skills and abilities.
What's common out of like runes and masteries? Because people don't really talk about runes very much because we never get so specific. But what are you looking to run on both Varus and Syndra?
I mean, on Syndra it's just usual magic penetration, red runes, Queen's ability power, yellow HP per level, and blue like either 10% CDR or 15. I mean, Bjergsen opts for 10% and like 4 flat Emrys, which is pretty usual. I mean, like against Varus you don't need Emrys that much, but still against Elise and Rumble it's pretty useful eventually. And we can see them trading pretty hard right now.
Yeah, I definitely feel like Crown is winning again the trades just like yesterday against Senkux. Crown was always getting the better end of the trades early on, and he's winning in the potion war.
Yeah, I feel like with Corrupted Potion you have 1 additional potion, so if you win the trades like that, you eventually get ahead. And as for Varus runes, it's like there are 2 ways. Some people prioritize lane more, so they take attack speed and attack damage, but you lose on the poke like in the mid game. And Crown using usual like poke setup, so he using the armor penetration reds and like 80 queens, and we can see that already. Like this is what we were talking about.
Nice by Bjergsen.
Yeah, but this is what we were talking about because of the advantage. Oh, it was unlucky. Because of the advantage, like the Lee Sin invaded the bot side jungle with Braum because like they have the losing bot lane matchup, so Braum is free. And because of that, Bjergsen knows where the enemy jungler is, so he can push up that hard. And because of that, he gets actually pretty good recall.
Yeah.
What did Bjergsen do well there, Ellis? I just heard you say nice as he just walked around the corner.
He just traded better.
Yeah, he traded pretty good.
Traded pretty well. The problem with this, though, is you notice Bjergsen's recall. He goes for fillable potion with Doran's ring, which means that Crown is not only going to get this wave and Bjergsen's going to miss a little bit of it, so Crown has amassed a gold advantage and he's amassed a little bit of an experience advantage, but he has the superior recall because he gets to get tier.
Yeah, Actually, I thought it's a cannon wave, so Bjergsen will have better recall, but then yeah, his recall is not that good. I think he could have stayed, but he decided to have a bit of pressure. There is a fight top lane happening right now. And this is, I don't know, I think I don't like it from Samsung that much because Crown just recalled and Bjergsen is wrong.
Oh, wow, TSM going in. Oh, first blood to Svenskeren.
Nice.
That
was really nice.
Oh, this was questionable.
That was actually really, really good by TSM.
It was like good by TSM, but at the same time, I don't understand what Samsung were doing there because they know that Bjergsen gonna come first and Crown not even near anywhere. So it's like if they overstep and they cannot do it fast enough, then like I guess there was a dive that wasn't executed correctly.
What are you thinking as the Syndra player there? Like, obviously, you see the action going on. Like, what's your role? Is it just to try and get the CC down? Like, what angle are you trying to find?
I mean, here it was like he went over the wall. So if Elise goes there, he either like lands the stun over the wall, which he did, or he can even flash himself and land the stun, just depending on the situation. So mostly you just like want to cut people off. Really good trade with Bjergsen.
Yep.
And Bjergsen gonna have a level 6 really soon.
Yep.
And because Crown is not running like barrier or anything, he can be in a lethal range pretty soon if he trades like that.
This is definitely going really, really well for TSM right now. I think that they're playing really well across the map. Huge credit, obviously, to Honser and Svenskeren. And now we're seeing what's happening. So the Cocoon was missed. Had that hit, this is an entirely different story.
Yeah, but like from the get-go, I mean, it probably they wanted to dive Honser, and then Ambition saw Svenskeren. But I don't know. I feel like the preparation was not there, and if you don't have the mid laner already, like, I mean, I understand the idea, but it's risky. So it was like high risk, high reward situation, and you can see that sometimes risk doesn't pay off.
Right. Also, if we're just looking at the itemization, double lift with the call. So that definitely is adding some salt to the wound, and he has to be careful here.
Wow, full combo landing onto Crown, but that's actually enough damage as well. Another solo kill. Saw that last game as well, Faker handing it to Jensen.
I mean, this is why I don't like the Virus pick. There are picks like Victor. I mean, he has shield and better trades. There is a Orianna that has like pretty good lane against Syndra. And with Virus, I mean, he could have probably go no Magic Mental. I guess he didn't have enough gold for like going no Magic Mental and Longsword. So, I mean, I understand the idea. Virus itemization is actually pretty good against Syndra. But if you get the start like this, this is really good preparation by Bjergsen. He like prepares his Q, so he gets one more Q for the damage.
Yep.
And then he lands everything. And like 2 autos in between.
Yep.
I think if Crown like flashed one of the 2 autos, he probably would have even survived.
Yep.
He didn't respect the damage.
So Samsung is pretty far behind right now, all across the board, and I think Bjergsen is in a commanding position. And this is one of the problems about Syndra. Not many other mid laners, when they get an advantage, are able to force it as heavy as Syndra can.
Yeah, but the problem is because Bjergsen is ahead, he can now invade with the Svenskeren.
Yep.
And this is what we're talking about. Like, if they get advantage, they just take over the jungle of Elise. And this is what I was afraid of Samsung, because like their lanes, they're pretty weak. Like starting from the get-go, bottom lane gets ahead of TSM, and then because of that, Lee Sin invades, and they get the blue buff from Elise. And now they invade like the red buff, and Bjergsen can help, and Virus cannot even go there because they just have the push advantage. And because of that, they can even go top lane because like Rumble used his flash, and then they killed him.
Oh, Kubi getting caught out. just a light tap with the auto attack there from Bjergsen will finish off that kill.
And I don't know what Samsung have to do right now. But like, I mean, they have a pretty good comp to stall it out, but I don't think like the TSM comp is actually have all the resources to prevent stalling.
I think Bjergsen like roam a lot in this game. Like it was reactive, of course, to like the previous play. That one was clearly set up by TSM. But when are the times that you really start to look to roam as like a mid laner, specifically as Syndra?
Well, he's so far ahead right now that, you know, even if he misses a few minions, Crown's not yet at the point. Oh, wow.
Wow. The kick flash, the execute.
TSM is dismantling Samsung.
Yeah.
But to you know, finish up answering your question, he's so far ahead that he can just basically run around the jungle because Lee Sin has initiative on Elise because of what happened early on. And then because Syndra can just back it up with that long-range stun, it just applies so much pressure.
I want to talk about that last play as well. Crown just kind of dying in the mid lane. Like, what do you do as a Varus in that situation? Is like he is somewhat pushed up here, but like, what is the play? Do you just sit at your tower now?
Yes. I mean, you know that Lee Sin can be in your jungle 24/7.
Yeah.
Even without Bjergsen laning the stun first, Lee Sin can double you under the turret and the ult. But this is like kind of what happened yesterday, except I feel like this time TSM comp is better and they're more ahead. When they get ahead, they like to play reckless because they're like bloodbath aggressive. It's kind of the way Immortals played, so I guess it's some of the NA way of the bloodbath.
Yeah.
Because like they, instead of having like the ping force and controlling the vision and playing more macro, I feel like they like to play from the superior laners, winning the lanes, going into enemy jungle, and basically then you don't need wards because I mean your jungler body is a ward.
I feel like I've seen this one before.
Yeah.
But, he doesn't actually get it off this time, at least. We're 10 minutes into this game, and, well, TSM aren't going to get the perfect game now. That one kill went over to Samsung, but they are doing pretty well. 3K advanced at 10. Got a question coming in from Twitter, coming at Sloshy. Says, what is the most optimal Varus build and why? Alex, you want to go first?
So it depends on the matchup, of course, because what Athena build is probably the most I don't know, most effective build, where you build a tier, then you build Yomus, you build Death Dance, you build Manamune, you build Last Whisper, Bloodthirster. But when you play against somebody like Syndra or LeBlanc, you just have to build Hex Drinker. So basically your itemization comes tier into Moth Malmorius, then Yomus, then like Manamune. So basically you get that Amres with like the shield that gives you lifesteal spell bump, and then after that, instead of the Bloodthirster, you probably can still build the Death Dance because it will cap out your CDR and it will give you the like lifesteal and some more survivability. Because eventually Syndra can still one-shot you through more, so you need some kind of like Death Dance or something.
Gotcha. And there's the Hex Drinker as well. Is there a world in which you'll go for the Hex Drinker first or the Null Magic like earlier, even though you really need that tier? Because, I mean, Crown like straight up got solo killed, and yes, that was his fault, but is there a place in which you'll do that?
I think he's just, I mean, because of how lane was happening, it was pretty unlucky for him. Right, let's check out this dive first.
Yep. TSM, there's the full combo. Ruler, unlucky ultimate.
He pressed ultimate on map. Like, the map is right in the corner, so sometimes people press it instead of the... Yeah, this is, I don't know, this is just like a tiltception right now.
What does Bjergsen do from here?
Oh, man.
He just kills him.
Oh, man.
I see. Oh, yeah, I'm seeing that. Yeah.
TSM. They're lighting Samsung up right now.
I mean, this is what I was afraid of, and this is why I didn't like Samsung pick. And they said, like, if they fall behind, which they probably will because all their lanes are losing lanes, then Lee Sin will just go into enemy jungle, and then he just, like, Lee Sin is superior to Elise, kinda, especially with the help of champion like Syndra, and then they will just, like, overcome the game after that. And from here on, it's like the first game of SKT versus C9.
Yeah.
It's just like, you cannot go anywhere. Syndra doesn't even need to hit skill shots anymore. He can just like press QR and you're dead.
Yep.
After level 11.
This matchup is already really, really just tilted, and I don't think Samsung Galaxy is actually going to be able to come back. I mean, if they want to come back, they need. This is going to be a 45, 50-minute game, which Samsung Galaxy is no stranger to, but this is what I was worried about with the double tier comp. And you also saw Ruler even flashed actually a little bit late there. And Bjergsen's roams and his timings, they've all been super, super on point.
Yeah, TSM are known for their synergy of Bjergsen and Sunsherin. So, like, this is just, if they get ahead in the matchup, and they, like, most of the time do, this is usually how it happens. Like, yesterday, Bjergsen was ahead, but then, unfortunate, because TSM like to play reckless, and RNG pick wasn't that bad, and their bot lane was winning. They could have like come around, and Xiaohu got like 4 kills on Cassio, and it tilted the matchup. But like here, just like Varus cannot do anything. In reality, like he went bottom, and we saw he just died there. That's like Athena, for example, he was losing, but he was like still like staying in the lane and farming. And here, just I don't know.
What is Crown's role meant to be now in teamfights? Obviously, they're significantly behind, and yes, he just kind of got caught in the middle of everyone. Should he just be super far back looking for the disengage now, or ult, that type of thing?
Well, the problem is he doesn't have flash, so he can't really move outside of areas that he doesn't have vision of.
Right.
Because Syndra can just one combo, even just with a 4-orb ultimate. So he just needs to keep farming with Q. And as I mentioned, this is going to be a 40 or a 50-minute game if Samsung Galaxy wants to find a way to win this. I think that if Varus and Ezreal can get to 3 items, it'll be stronger than TSM having 4 items, which that's sort of nice. But
that was clean. But Ambition actually going to get out alive. Okay.
Yeah.
And Wraith going to give him the quick 20 health heal.
Yeah.
And he'll be on his way.
Bifrost greedy double. Blames the support.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
They were like 100% sure he was dead. I don't know. It's like TSM need to throw this hard. I mean, 7k lead at 14 minutes, it's not something that it's that easy to throw, even regarding Samsung comp with Varus and everything. I mean, you need to all die, preferably somewhere at Baron, when the enemy team steals the Baron. Yeah, that would be a good way to throw.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, when you have an 8k gold lead at, like, 15 minutes, is it actually just too heavy to throw to your opponent? Like, it's actually just not possible at this stage.
I mean, it depends on compositions. It's just like, for example, if TSM didn't have the proper way to dive, for example, they would have, like, range support, I don't know, like, the top laner that is not canon. I don't even know, like, what top laner. I guess something... I don't even know what are, like, damaged top laners that cannot dive. Because at this point, when you're 8k ahead, probably even Gnar will have enough tanky items to like dive the turret.
Yeah.
And as for Canon, it's like super easy. They just dominate the vision, and because Samsung, they can... Varus is not strong enough to poke, like to get enough HP down, so the enemies cannot dive. So basically, they will just posture behind your turret, and you have to give it. So they will get 3 more towers, which is like 3k gold more, and it will be like 11k gold ahead. And at this point, because you lost all your turrets, while TSM turrets all are up, they will just like get the vision around Baron, and then they will get the Baron, and then they will finish the game. But in reality, there is a chance that they will even like... Samsung won't respect the dive, and they will get dove under tier 2, and the game will end faster.
One of the things that I want to point out right now, though, is this has been my biggest issue with TSM, having watched all their games leading up to Worlds, is that they get to this stage, they get monstrous leads, and their mechanics are on point, but then they struggle to close stuff out. And Samsung, that's what they're known for, is stalling until 40-50 minutes, and then coming back even from huge gold deficits. So I think it's still going to be a question of, can TSM actually macro to suffocate and choke out Samsung here?
It seems they're still being pretty aggressive, still trying to get things done in the opposing jungle. You can see Bjergsen just coming around here as well. On the topic of Bjergsen just being massive in this game, I want to hold that for a second as they are just pushing up the top side.
That's what I meant. They just posture for the dive, so the enemies have to back out. Like, they still have an Alistar level 6, so he can probably try to survive the combo from Syndra. So this is like some kind of saving grace. But at the same time, just like Varus cannot go there, so you lose one champion already. He gets cut off all the time.
What is the goal of the Syndra there? Does she go around the side with the Lee Sin, try and look for that pick, or does she stay with the main team and wait for the Lee to kick someone towards them?
She basically, she stays in the middle of the pack, where sometimes she'll go for like a, a flank type approach, just using a multi-ball to get a multi-ball E.
Right.
So that's basically all that she needs to do. And then from there, Lee Sin can follow up with a kick straight into her ultimate, and then Kennen and, Braum are able to demand attention.
Talking about Syndra as well, we have a question coming in from Twitter. Smoke Dog LOL says, do you think we will be seeing Syndra banned? If not, what would be the solid counter? We touched that on earlier as well, but we can reiterate.
I think if Vladimir gets banned, it telegraphs the Syndra. So probably people will just start banning Syndra whenever Vladimir is banned. Because without him, it's pretty hard. Maybe people can play something like Malzahar into it. But then again, she has an insane amount of pressure, and you are like on the second step all the time. The only thing is that it's good that it's really hard for Syndra to build QSS early. So eventually, if you didn't die and if you didn't fall too far behind, then you can like have the 6th level pressure from Malzahar. But other than that, it's pretty hard. Like, Syndra is superior, so we're probably gonna see it banned or picked a lot.
Yep. I think that as Worlds progresses, Syndra will definitely start eating more bans, because on certain players, she's just too strong. And also, TSM RNGing like gods. Unfortunately, they did not yesterday against RNG, but they get an Inferno Drake, and that is gigantic for Syndra and Jhin. The amplification is just so unfair on those champions.
Next Drake is Infernal too, and the Baron is spawning soon. I don't think TSM should go. Actually, with how much kills they got and how much gold they got, they probably can even go for 20 minutes Baron Force.
Yep.
Except the only problem, they don't have the actual like tank to tank it. I guess Braum can tank a bit, so maybe they need like one more item on everyone. So like 26 minutes, around that mark, they should have probably forced Baron. Meanwhile, they can take all the tier 2s left. And I think Kennen, because the team and he himself is so far ahead, he can split push against Rumble. So it just like come down to the eventual execution of the Baron bait.
Yep.
Does not feel like a 20-minute game with this gold lead over to TSM right now.
Right.
3-0-4 in the mid lane as well. What would your ideal Syndra build be as like a completion? Because we talked about Crown, but we didn't really touch on Bjergsen.
Well, I think because they're going to get a second Inferno Drake, most likely, because that's not going to be a point at which Samsung Galaxy is able to start, you know, moving out of their base in like a flanked formation. Because of that, I think Deathcap added on top is just, it's gigantic.
Yeah, also you can see that there is no Locket anytime soon because they're so far behind as Samsung. So you can easily just go the Deathcap and one-shot the Ezreal. It probably won't be enough damage. Actually, I think with Deathcap at this point of the game, it will be even enough to go through all Warriors.
Yeah, I think it'd be pretty dead. Like the Deathcap here is a win more item, right? It's not something you would just like every single game. Ah, it's my third item, I'm gonna go Deathcap here, right?
Yep.
It's either Deathcap or Void Stuff usually. Sometimes Zonius, but I would say Zonius is seldom. Most of the time people just go Void Stuff because it's just an effective item and usually supports build Locket, so it just like negates the magic resistance from the Locket.
Honestly, TSM is so far ahead, and Bjergsen has so much more AP than he would ever be used to having at this point in the game. I don't think that buying a QSS is that bad, already because he has so much more AP than he should typically have in this situation. And if we think that, you know, that's a fair assessment of how the game currently is versus how the average games currently are, then we can assume that Bjergsen should be able to play like he would anyway, and just this time with the QSS, it denies Samsung Galaxy's ability to somehow try to delete him and turn a team fight.
I think he usually is, like, the only thing to QSS there when he has cleansed himself is an Alistar knockup, and most of the time Bjergsen is pretty sure in his like reactions. And with how far Samsung are behind, there is no way for Alistar to get to him to like flash pulverize, like pulverize flash, which means he'll have to flash WQ. And I mean, Bjergsen is 100% sure that he will react to that, so I don't think he thinks like that. So he'll probably just go straight damage and just one-shot someone. And then, like, when the one body is dead, they can easily finish the game.
Yep. Now, as this game progresses, it's just going to come down to, you know, can TSM find a way to get Baron safely, not have it stolen away or whatever. It's very interesting, actually, how Ambition has a level lead over Svenskeren. That's actually, that's really weird.
Well, it's a lot of jungle was taken by, when TSM were taking it, was getting to Bjergsen, and I think Svenskeren really seldom went into his jungle. So it's like, I mean, they're like pretty similar in terms of level. And then Svenskeren didn't go for any kind of like power farm build with Tiamat, so he's just like, and Ambition was just like farming and farming.
That hurt. Something I want to point out is I'm wondering if Samsung's draft is intentional against TSM, given the changes that happened to minions a few patches ago, how if you're behind in levels, the minions are stronger and ultimately keep coming to you, and then they intend to turtle. But I think that they dropped the ball way too much early on, and they're not in a situation that they would probably have predicted themselves to be in. Maybe they were estimating like 3 or 4K gold deficit, definitely not a 10K.
I mean, just actually Bjergsen is building Void Stuff, by the way. I checked his gold, he had enough for Needless Large Rod, but he bought the Blasting one, so telegraphs the Void Stuff. And other than that, I mean, I don't know. It's just like, if you fall behind with this comp, probably the place where you will turtle will be tier 3 tower, which means you're probably gonna fall like 10k behind, which probably means that the chance of losing this game is pretty high until TSM screws up. And it's just like, I didn't see the ways. The only way probably for Samsung to win was actually top lane, so the dive that they tried to, but it backfired, and after that the game was pretty over, because like mid lane is losing matchup, bot lane is losing, and then top lane is like the only thing that can somehow be like, you know, salvaged and get ahead. And after that was lost. It's just Bjergsen can go wherever he wants and kill someone.
Relevant question from Twitter, which I may wait a bit to ask, as nah, he's good. Banshee's well. Comes in from Dolphins Mark, who says, if Samsung Galaxy want a poke comp while also wanting to survive Syndra's damage, would Ezreal Corki mid work better?
I mean, Ezreal mid loses against Syndra the same. As for Corki, people don't tend to pick him, and I mean, he got buffed a bit. I'm not sure it's actually this patch that is World's patch, because I think it's the next one. And in this patch, I think Corki is too weak, and he will have the same problems. Like, eventually, Syndra just has too much damage, so she will just push you in. As Ezreal, you just don't have a wave clear at all. As Corki, you have a wave clear, but eventually, so like they will have first roam. So it's like, okay, maybe she cannot kill Corki himself, but she will just kill the rest of your team.
Yep.
And then eventually Corki's wave clear is weaker than Varus, so you'll probably lose because you just don't have enough clear.
Here comes
So
the
now
push
TSM,
as well.
yep, they're going to rotate down and get that second Inferno Dragon. So RNG is on their side, not like yesterday, but, you know, this is really, really problematic because unless there's some miracle Ezreal ultimate, there's no hope, you know, for Samsung to contest this ever.
Yeah, just like TSM are playing smart and methodical.
Oh,
They're-
Rip.
oh man.
And the next one's Mountain as well.
They're not trying to throw it at Baron like some teams would do at 20 minutes, just go to Baron, because it's like, TSM understand, it's too early, they don't need to force it. It's like some teams are like, whoa, we're so ahead, we need to probably do something. TSM knows, we can just like farm it out a bit slowly, get all the turrets, and then when we have enough HP pools to like tank the Baron without like losing too much HP and do it fast enough, they will just go for it. So
Yep.
basically there is like one turret left that they will probably take, and then they will start forcing the Baron.
Seems pretty clear from here on out. I do want to go back to kind of the early game and laning phase, though. So Crown, of course, got 1v1 killed. Probably not the thing you want to do as a mid laner. Should there been another way that he like played out the laning phase? Like, what was his goal really there? Was it just not die, farm up, get to late game?
Well, he won the laning phase up till the first recall, and then the chaos happened in the jungle, and then Bjergsen was able to get an assist and have level 6 before Crown was able to get level 6. And then he was able to come out of the brush, and I wouldn't call it a cheese because Crown did react slowly, probably underestimating the damage. So, you know, it's a little bit questionable. But then Bjergsen just played way better at the longer the game went on, and then it looked like Crown tilted with that roam to bottom. So yeah, pretty much that.
Maybe he tilted after the top lane things happened too.
Oh,
Because,
that's
like,
possible.
Yeah.
the things like that happen, and your mid laner just gets the free stuff, and you're like, I mean, why?
I just need to say something. So TSM, they have some of the best players at this tournament. Bjergsen, Doublelift, Svenskaren, you know, all super world-class players. This is the thing that they always do. They always get ahead. And Bjergsen, known for getting ahead in mid, as you saw this game, he absolutely dominated the mid lane and invested that advantage back into his team. But this is the problem that I've had with TSM over and over. They have a 10k gold lead, and they can't find a way to suffocate or out-rotate Samsung Galaxy. And this is a little bit sad, because not every single game is going to go like this. Some games Ambition hits that cocoon early on, it's a different game. And now we're at this point, and we're basically seeing TSM's biggest weakness. Their macro is actually really weak.
I mean, they got all the towers. I would say that they should get this top tower already. They're trying more to cheese enemies instead of actually like, they're like, and they didn't clear the ward, and this is why. Like, they sometimes still have the Baron ward. And this is the, like, basically they were trying to bait the Baron. They got really good position, pink wards and everything, but they didn't clear the cheese wards. Because, like, I mean, you gotta like run around with a sweeper, but because they have only one sweeper, I think at this point of the game, with how ahead they are, they could have afforded second sweeper on Syndra, and then it would be much easier to clean the vision.
Yep. So I also want to say that TSM's early game macro, oh, that might be it.
Yep, see you later, Crown. Haunter, yeah, he's just going deep. And, I mean, do you have to do that as Crown? Like, do you have to step up to the wall, look for the poke, look for the steal, like, as the Varus there? Do you have to have that positioning, or should he have been, like, more with the team?
The thing is Haunter has teleport, so why is Crown moving that way anyway? Why are any of them moving that way anyway? Because Ambition has a ward up.
I mean,
so,
at this position, with how far behind they are, in reality, what you should do is like you send your jungler as a Rambo, while everyone else like trying to farm somewhere else, And then if he steals, he steals. If he doesn't, I mean, like, if you go there, you just die. Like, their goal is to force the fight and to get the picks. They don't need the Baron to, like, break the base because they're against superior wave clear. Which means, like, if Samsung goes there, they just get killed. Because, like, you 100% have wards behind you. You'll 100% if they don't even get the stun, you'll get TP'd on. Or, like, Lee Sin can be not even at Baron because you don't have the vision there. And, like, I would have just sent Ambition. Like, he has a ward, he has vision. I would have sent him as a Rambo there. And, like, if he dies, okay. He tried.
There's no reason for Crown to be that close to the edge right there. He easily could have been charging his arrow and getting ready to shoot it. Ezreal, out of position. Cuvee, out of position. They're not even entertaining, hey, does TSM have a flank teleport? Because if that's the case, they're potentially getting aced in some scenarios there. So it's a little bit weird.
I mean, they're probably just desperate at this point. It's like, it's hard to blame them because, like, they're at Baron, we need to try at least force fight or something. Because, like, they probably understand they're losing super hard. And I don't know, just like, their comp, it's just like any poke comp, if you're too far behind, it's really hard to do anything. Especially against comp like TSM have, because they have all the tools. They have the pick from like Syndra and Lee Sin. As I said, they have the cannon, which can like TP behind you and kill you. So basically, when they do, that's why I thought maybe TSM should have done it earlier. I think what they did was okay. Like, they were sitting on the ward, they just didn't clear the cheese wards, which is like, I mean, this is a mistake, maybe even a rookie mistake, but I think it's more of like, you can see Bjergsen understood his mistake, so he switched the ward to the sweeper right now. And it's just like, I think TSM will progress throughout this tournament, and they kind of understand their mistakes, so their vision control when they're winning is getting better. Like, even throughout this game, Bjergsen understood that they, like, oh, probably they had a ward there, so we probably need a second sweeper because we have only one. And, I mean, after that, eventually, I think just, like, Syndra is ban-worthy, especially against the player like Bjergsen. Like, if you know that they have, like, they have mid lane jungle synergy, they have superior mid laner, superior jungler, or like, you know, their synergy is superior. Maybe they're not superior players, but they're like playing really good with each other. Just like ban something that can impact the game so hard as Syndra does. Because like, if Syndra cannot help Lee Sin cannot do whatever he wants. And then like, if Lee Sin is not in the enemy jungle, he's not as useful.
Yep.
What should that help come in the form of? Is it just invading with him, opening up opportunities for the Lee Sin? Like, what is the Syndra trying to do to help the jungler?
Well, just like, you need to be, but basically you need to be winning lane. So Lee Sin best ganks are from the enemy jungle, because when he can jump behind and then like ult you into your laner, which means Syndra needs to be able to push out the lane, where she just like,
what?
Unfortunate. So,
oh man,
this is just like already, they're just solid in their lead.
Yeah, that might actually be game. The correct choice is to go for Baron.
Yeah, they're probably just gonna go for Baron.
Yeah.
And Bjergsen will probably just stay to like kill someone who goes to contest it. This is actually, I think, decent position. Now the ward sees him. I don't think Samsung gonna contest. Ezreal will try to steal with a wall. We'll do some miracle here. Maybe it happens.
yeah, nope. So in what circumstance do you want to actually stand in the same position that Bjergsen was there? Was it just because he had like the vision control over the air and he knew like only a couple people could be running through there, so he could just pop them?
So yeah, this is the position where people stay either dead or in the bush, where you have the pink ward. So basically, he knows that most of the time it won't be warded because people like ward over the red buff wall. So he just stays there to cheese out people who probably can try to like poke or contest or anything. And in the situation like 5v5 fights, it was when Ahri was meta, like people like to have 4 people at Baron while Ahri sits somewhere on the side. So she basically picks someone or even waits till the whole team goes through and AD carries somewhere behind or like mid laner, and then she just like one-shots someone and picks him off. So basically that's pretty much the same idea, except they're super far ahead and Bjergsen can do whatever he wants.
Yep.
Yeah, he can pick the entire team at this point, I feel. He's quite strong.
So if TSM is going to find a Doom push, it's going to be right here. And I don't think Crown is able to wave clear this off with Varus.
This is why they, like, I really like TSM pick, because like they have Braum that have like the wall and everything. They have Cannon to engage eventually. And Jin, it's just like,
Ruler one-shotted out by Bjergsen. Yeah, this does not feel very good, boys.
It's like whenever I play against AD carries, they're like, how do I even play against this champion? It's like he can just press QR and I die.
Yep, that's how he feels right now. Yeah, this is just...
Like, in reality,
Yeah.
you eventually need multiple Morios and Mercurial Scimitar on the 80 carry. I mean, if you're that far behind, you cannot afford those items. So you're pretty much doomed. GG.
All right,
Getting the
18 to
full
1.
Ace. Yeah, 18 to 1. Didn't quite get the
Yeah.
perfect game. So, I mean, we can give Samsung Galaxy that. But, yeah, strong performance, I think, across the board from TSM. Like, most stages of the game got stalled out a little bit. But even from Bjergsen's perspective as well, like, he just dumpstered mid lane as well.
I think early game they played phenomenally. They really did. Svenskaren did dodge the cocoon. Maybe that literally changes the entire game. That cocoon by Ambition. But their follow-up for everything, next 15 minutes, it was really, really good. Bjergsen performed way better than I thought he would. And, you know, it was just impressive to see. But I still have the problem with their macro. They needed 12k gold, 2 Mountain Drakes, 2 Inferno Drakes with a Cinder Jin and a Baron to close it out. I don't think that's very good. Did they play well in Crisp? Yeah, sure.
I don't know. I think it was fine. It's just like you're playing against Wave Clear mid.